Well, what's the crack, everybody? You're all very welcome to episode 109 of Buckshot for Friday, the 26th of April 2019. What's the crack? I'm Tom O'Mahony. If this is your first time listening, you'll probably have seen it in the show description, or you've seen my big fat head on the logo. So there you are. Like I said, it's Friday the 26th, or if you're a Patreon, this is now available as I'm recording it and editing it and putting it out on Thursday the 25th. So my thanks again to the Patreon. There's a little... And also on the Tuesday, Ramble Pods, they typically come out a little earlier. But also the video is there of it. And if you are on time or around, you can leave... you can shoot me some questions and chats and all the rest of it. So again, my thanks to the Patreons. There's more stuff coming your way. I have stuff in the plannings for the Patreons. I may... we'll see. We'll see what's coming down the line. Just, I'm thinking I may move some of the pods just purely exclusively to the Patreons, because you know what? Ye help, as they say, keep the lights on over here at Buckshot Towers. Like I said, there's no towers. I've said this before. There's absolutely no towers. It's just a house, really, with an office where I record. So there you have it. What's the crack, everybody? How's your week going? Jesus, a turn in the weather, lads. Turn in the weather. The sun is gone. Right, I'll move swiftly along. Gigs this week. This weekend, I'm just hosting a couple of those bingo locos around the place. You know what? You're not going to see much in the way of jokes from me. Just me shouting and just jumping around. I've gotten a ridiculous shirt that I'm quite looking for. I'm going to take a picture and put it up on my Instagram of me in turbo asshole gear. Oh, it's fucking vile. But you know what? At one of these bingo loco things, it doesn't really matter. It's just me abusing adults who are drunk. So you know, it's going to be expected wearing a shirt like that. Next week, I'll be hosting once again the Tuesday the 30th. I'll be at the UCH Comedy Club in Limerick, so the University Concert Hall in Limerick, with friends of the podcast, Jim Elliott and Joanne McNally. So that'll be a banging night. Shouldn't be a good one. Also, let me just see now as it goes through. I'm back in Tipperary. I'm in Tipperary on Sunday the 5th. Is that a bank holiday? Oh, it is. It's a bank holiday weekend. Yeah, I'll be there with the boys from Totally Wired, Emmett and Lorcan, and a friend of the podcast, Paul Marsh. And yeah, I think I'm hosting that one as well. That'll be a bit of crack. People drinking, having a crack. Yeah, and like that, I'll keep you up to date each week. You know, by the time I'll have the Ramble Pod out next week anyway, so don't stress too much about it. There are more gigs I need to add up to the old fucking... If you want to find out gigs and what not, normally I do typically add them in a block, but there's a couple I need to throw up on the old Tom O'Mahony website. It's tomomahony.com/gigs. You'll find it in the show notes. Just click through. Yeah, that's about the size of it. T-Republic stuff. My apologies if your T-Republic stuff hasn't arrived, because even the stuff I ordered for myself hasn't fucking arrived yet. So I don't know what's going on. But look it's looking like I'm going to be changing to an Irish crowd soon enough, and we'll have a shop set up on the old website and everything for you, for all the old merch and all the rest of it. It comes out cool stuff. Some cool stuff comes out, and the colours and all the rest of it are pretty cool. So have a gander at that. It'll be in the show notes as well. Right, moving swiftly along to today's guest. Today's guest is... I'd never met him before, but we chatted online all the time. We went to make this happen a couple of months back. Didn't happen. I find him hilarious. He has a Twitter page and a Patreon page and a website. Basically, he is the Three Red Kings, which is it's a rugby-based forum, basically, where he does a podcast as well, but his is purely Patreon based because people are dedicated to Munster rugby. But a lot, the chat throughout the podcast is basically, people don't get, while it is factual and all the rest of it, a lot of it is tongue in cheek, having the crack, trolling trolls. But people, God bless him, but people don't fucking get it a lot of times. It's very, very funny, and he is very, very insightful. He knows his shit when it comes to rugby, and the chat was to just purely talk about rugby. But me being me, I, for some reason, bring out the worst in people, and we talked about everything bar rugby, and his kind of the weird and wonderful way he led up to how he is where he is right now with Three Red Kings and all the rest. And there was a little bit of rugby in there towards the end, but it was a lot of shit talk. Quite literally, there was a bit of shit talk. the opening bit. We the sounds from the mics are grand, but we did in a beer garden down in Cork in Coughlan's/Cofflan's, which was a gorgeous gig, by the way. It was a great room, but we did it out in the beer garden, so there's a bit of ambiance, shall we say, mostly from the birds in the trees behind us, but some traffic in the background, and even a plane flew overhead just as we were starting out. So you're going to enjoy this one because it's just silly from beginning to end. So sit back, wrap your earlobes and earlugs around this one, and enjoy the very brilliant Tom Savage. Tomas Savage, a.k.a. the Three Red Kings.
Mm-hmm.
How are you? Thank you very much.
No problem. It's good to be in here. We're in a nice little beer garden here now. Although the house over here is a little bit dilapidated looking, so it's a little bit of a rustic kind of feel to it.
But you know what? Isn't that Cork? Isn't it snazzy one way, and then another way it's a bit wild?
It is. It's like, as in, you kind of walk down an alleyway, and like, as in, you might see some nice graffiti. You might get kicked, to death. But it's nice.
I like to see it. I lived in Cork for 7 years, and I'd forgotten how Cork doesn't like people that have cars at all. Like, heaven forbid you want to park.
It's a bit like Venice with concrete, really.
Yeah.
Just looking at this, yeah. You lived in Cork for 7 years?
7 years. I was a civil engineer. I built Mount Oval out in Rochestown. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So yeah,
Mount Oval.
Previous lives. Yeah. Where we overcharged everybody for fucking bricks and mortar. But we sold it well. That was the thing. We sold it very well. Yeah, we sold a dream. That's exactly it.
The thing is with Mount Oval, it's just like, I remember driving past it. It's just like, imagine living in Mount Oval. I used to work in construction as well.
Did you?
I did. Site clerk.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There now. I was saying it the other day about the biggest fuck up I ever did. Doing that job.
Yeah. I've pulled off a few myself.
Was, because my job was I had to order concrete.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So people wanted a box of nails or whatever else. I had to order it. They deliver it. We had a big pour going on, building a shopping centre.
Yeah.
Foundations going in. Very important. Engineer.
You keep that yoke all the time. About a
right here?
Fist.
Right here.
About a fist.
There we go.
Yeah. Perfect.
But anyway, I had my engineer gave me this is what you have to order for us. We need this to be here at a certain time on a certain day. Vitally important. So I was like, okay. So I get in. I don't do it straight away, so immediate problem.
Yeah, well, you've got solitaire to finish off on.
That's the thing, yeah, because like, when you're doing that, you have to give it as a safe pass examination, which is basically just like, as in, do lads know their ABCs, like. And so I had to do a few of those. So anyway, next time up, I'll go order my concrete now. Vitally important. So I went away and I put in the order to the guy, and forgot about it. Big pour coming up next week. Stuff arrives, and it's the wrong concrete. It's not the 30 Newton stuff.
You'd order regular stuff like 15 Newton or something like that.
The stuff you needed for the footpaths.
Yeah.
And
this is pouring walls or something, was it?
It was pouring foundations of the. So it was the strongest stuff they needed, and I gave them stuff that, like, you might do up a little brick wall with it or something.
How much of this, just out of interest?
It was 4 truckloads of it.
Beautiful.
Came all wrong, all at the same time. They came on time, in fairness to them.
Did you start finding footpaths that fucking needed fairly quickly? Did you?
It was just an absolute horror show. Like, as in, one of those times where you're just like, do you know those foundation pits there? Could I jump in there and could you just pour that down on top of me, please?
And to the listeners, there is nothing in construction that makes owl fellas go mad like concrete. It is their ketamine, isn't it? Owl fellas and concrete, whatever it is. It could be any other substance. It could be fucking fibre optics being landed. It could be actual fucking Elon Musk could be landed on. Nobody gets stressed about concrete. What is it with concrete that freaks owlets out?
It's like Scarface. Like, like the way they go on about it. Like, as in, they're kind of like, they're talking about the management of it. Like, as in, you could get these lads hooked on concrete the way these lads go on about it.
Yeah.
Oh, they're crazy. Like, I remember at that time, like, I had a lot of people informing me about a couple of work-ons I needed to do at the time.
I love that.
In the aftermath of such a disappointing performance. It's just like, get your fucking shit together, would you?
Yeah, we'll watch the video back and
we'll
take our learnings from this.
The video review wasn't very kind on that one.
I'd every intention of talking about rugby, but I'm just as happy to talk about construction. I'm fine.
Oh, there was another time as well. Can we talk about like literal shit on this podcast?
Literal anything.
When I was
anything.
I was there at the time, and I was working on the same site as my father.
I almost joined the IRA on last week's podcast. That's just to let you know.
Sure, who hasn't?
Who hasn't?
Podcasts, they're crazy. Anyway, we had a thing anyway where there was a bunch of fellas coming in, like, you know, tradespeople, carpenters, all this other stuff would come in from all over the place. And I, as a site clerk, was managing the kind of the landing site where everything would be brought in. And we had this long-running thing, myself and another fellow who worked there, and my father, who would be popping in every now and then, looking to see who could leave the toilets in the worst state. Because it would be me who'd have to go and clean them. So anyway, I get a buzz on my phone. Come here and look at this. And
do you know this is going to be classy?
As in, this is one of those like super classy stories. And so I go over anyway, and he says, "You want to go and have a look at this? This is what you're going to have to clean up now."
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Somebody left a giant, like it was like a bear went in there and shit on the floor.
You wonder about these humans, like, and did you find out who?
I didn't see the human being. I don't even know if it was a human being. Like if they shaved a bear and put a hard hat and a safety vest on.
Tyrannosaurus went in and just shat.
It was just, I couldn't believe it. It's just like, I can't believe a person did that. Yeah. And it's just like, this fella must have passed a safe pass. I must have given him the thing.
He passed something, Tom. Did he eat that fucking four loads of concrete? The fucker.
I should have looked for a fella afterwards who looked like he was just after giving birth to a child. Like it was.
Who's that deflated man with his giant trousers that don't fit him anymore?
It's just like he's in. Did he not shit for 2 or 3 weeks before coming here? It was just disgusting, and I was just like,
the depths of humanity, though, Tom, when it comes to shitting on sites, is when
you see it in construction. Yeah.
It's when, and that's why I loved it, and I fucking was appalled by it in so many ways. But I loved the freedom that a man can go in.
It was the Wild West,
and just unload himself, and no judgment would happen. Do
you want to shit into a hard hat in a house that you're plastering?
Can you imagine? What people don't understand is what I've tried to tell people when they're getting a house built out in the country or in a housing estate. Wait till the very last second to have any of your toilet wares delivered. Because if a toilet is put most likely in the downstairs living room, because all the ware is just landed by the company, whether it be, I don't know, one of the plumbing centres or whatever, they will just land it there with tape across the lid. It's like a challenge. It's a challenge to whatever beast is working on the house at the time, because they will shit in a toilet. Because it's shaped like a toilet, but it's not in any way it's just sitting in the middle of a floor. How many times have you...
I've seen lads...
Have you gotten complaints of, like, clients?
No, well, there was some clients, an engineer who was doing a snag in a house came back and wondered why was there just so much shit in the downstairs toilet that wasn't plumbed. The lads were just like, I was caught short, I had to do it. So he went in and shit into the toilet, no water, and somebody had to clean that up. It wasn't me.
I love that the quantity was what bothered him.
The quantity was just like, there's just so fucking much of this.
There's shits now, Tom. Who kept on going back?
Who kept on going, like, as into somebody, I'd say it was somebody plastering the house or something like that.
They were plastering,
Tom. And look, the toilet was, they were plastering, yeah, the porcelain. And when they went back up to the site, you know, the actual landing place, it was a long walk, in fairness. So I can understand it. I went down and I was just like, that's disgusting, but I get it. It was the fellas who'd be shitting into their hard hats.
It's almost like, you know,
all this other
when
stuff.
you come across those cannibalism stories from the Wild West back in the day, you go, rotten, but I get you, yeah.
Tough times,
yeah.
Desperate measures.
Who knew the podcast? Bet you didn't think the podcast... Tom's missus is here with us, and she's gone, this is all supposed to be about sports and intellectual stuff.
Sports and intellectual, yeah, like work-ons, learnings, video.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't, because these are funny fucking stories.
This is the thing. It's just like, look, shit is just amusing. Like, we were getting at the car wash there earlier today.
Right? Shit.
The car up ahead of us, right?
Don't tell me a man shat on your car.
No. So we were sitting in a car waiting for it to be washed over at this, like, is in car wash / money laundering place, right? Yeah. So we were looking
Hello,
over.
my friend. I wash many times your car.
And seeing like dead bodies being pulled out of the back and everything. So we looked over across the way to this kind of old man pub that was just up the road from us, and there was a guy getting out of the car, right? And his actual ass was hanging out of his pants as he was stepping out for it, like. And I was just like, does he not see his ass is hanging out? And we were just saying afterwards that, look, asses are funny, just like shit is funny. But I can't talk about this.
Do you know what?
It wasn't a builder's ass. His whole pants was actually underneath.
So he sat in the car,
and he had a fella with him who was oblivious to it. Like, do you not think, like, sorry, there, like,
your pipe
John,
is hanging out there, lad?
Your ass is hanging out there. Do
you know what? You should come to tonight's gig, because I'm now going to. You've just brought up a bit that I haven't done in ages that I want to do about working. My only faux pas with working in buildings was continuously looking at men's arses. I loved every other aspect of it. I could take it.
Snickers pantses are the best pants for showing off your arse.
Well, these lads just don't give a like. They won't wear. They'll just wear nothing. Like the amount of safety things on site clerk stores in the way. Too much smoking, too much fucking death. Nobody said on any post, will somebody please stop offending Tom and wear a fucking belt, please?
Wear a belt, please, I can't concentrate on the job.
I'm getting too aroused at every fucking point. Your fat, hairy, sweaty arse is hanging out in the dusty environments just gets me going.
Please, just put it away. Oh my God.
Right, let's chance a bit of rugby. We're 10 minutes into this, and we haven't even gone above the waist.
No, we have look, it's excrement, arses, rugby.
Yeah. I mean, that's a standard
It's a way to get into
segue.
it.
Yeah. So the first time I came across you was on Twitter, and you're my perfect foil for when I'm gigging on Friday nights and Saturday or during games, because there's no crack in watching the monotony of, say, just live tweets from the actual official website, or Twitter page, because it'll just be the facts.
Yeah.
Whereas there's no getting involved with just the facts. You'll be like, oh right, okay, so that's the fact 5 minutes later. Where you'll actually shout on Twitter, "Fuck off!" and you go, I don't know what that means, but I'm involved.
I'm intrigued with this. It's emotional. I'm into it.
Fuck you, Gar says. It's like, yes, I don't know what that means. While I'm standing in the green room somewhere in fucking Northern Ireland,
I never planned for it to be like that. I had it in my head that, because when I was starting off this,
so I always want to imagine you're not wearing any trousers at all.
Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. Depending where I am. If I'm in the stadium, I always have to wear trousers. They make you wear trousers going into the stadium. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's unfair.
Jesus Christ! Hello, bureaucracy.
They're limiting my freedom of expression, really, to be honest.
Christ, it wasn't like that back in the day.
No, you could wear anything in there: dress, skirt, nothing. Just the hairs in your arse. That's all you need. But when I started off doing this, I was like, I want to, because I was looking around at all the other guys who were doing the stuff that I wanted to do, and Murray Kinsella, and I was just like, I like what he's doing. He's doing a good stuff. I can do something like this. And I started off, and when I started off, it was during World Cup 2015. Just in that, and I was living in the hostel at the time. And when I was starting off, I was just like, it was just me alone in this, like, because I used to live in this, like, it was a nunnery. It was a convent, like, or something.
Jesus, Tom, we only have one podcast here. Like, this is only have you for a short bit. You can't be just throwing bombs like that and be going, you lived in a nunnery.
It's a convent, like, it was St. Clair's, I think it was called, in Harold's Cross. I'm not sure if it's knocked down now or not. I think a friend of mine said that it was. But this was a place, like, it was like the nuns looked like they could have left last week, like. Because like when I came back, because I was in New Zealand for 3 or 4 years. Then I was in Italy in 2 years. For 2 years.
That wound you back to 2008 when the arse fell out of the country.
When
I became a professional stand-up comedian, Tom. Isn't that funny how things happen?
And I just kind of like ventured off into the wind.
Into the wind like so many others.
Yeah. Oh, jeez, no. But like I was in the States for a bit. Then I was in New Zealand. And then I was in Italy. And then I came back to Dublin.
Right.
Just before 2015. And when I came back, I had a bit of savings in New Zealand dollary dues or whatever they are.
Yeah.
And they don't really do very well with the euro. Hence why you see so many of the lads over here. So I was like, so I had savings. I was kind of going around place to place. And I was kind of one of those hopeful boys. I was like, do you know what now? It'll be next week I'll get that apartment and that job. So do you know what? I'll just stay in Airbnb. Just for another week. It's all fine. It's okay. And then when things started to, the kind of the shit wasn't quite hitting the fan, but I could see that the shit was heading towards the fan.
Yeah. And you knew about shit, Tom.
Oh, I knew all about it. I was just like, this was one of those big, like, construction toilet floor shits. Heading right towards the fan.
Weighty ones.
Yeah, I was just like, ooh, that's a meaty one. So I was looking at it and I was going, okay, look, I need to try and get into a house share with people here.
Yeah.
This is around 4 months in since I was back. No work, nothing. And when I went, I was just kind of looking and going, okay, well, I need to get some work now.
Yeah.
And I'd been working in rugby over in New Zealand, like doing some underage coaching. And I'd done a few, I played 1 or 2 games over there. Oh my God. Heartily embarrassed every time.
I know, yeah.
But that's the thing, like, come on. And then over in Italy, I was working in rugby there professionally. Well, like, you could call it professionally, but it was like at Italian level.
But they were paying you money.
Sometimes they were.
Okay.
Sometimes they were. I ended up doing like guided tours around Venice because I was living in Venice.
What, with a rugby ball on your arm or something? Just to keep it.
No, like as in just in English for Americans, kind of going, look, here is the Piazza San Marco. Oh my God, it's amazing. Do you know that you can go over there and put your bag in and you'll get a free ticket to go in ahead.
Do you know that all these Asians are serving you food? Isn't that interesting?
Isn't it amazing how they're just there? They're not Italian, but neither are you, so it's all right.
Yeah.
But like you see, I remember when I was over in Venice, it was gas because you'd always have the Italian Americans coming over.
No, you're right.
Who were just the most obnoxious Italian Americans when they were coming over. Like when I was
brief period I lived there, they were right up there.
Like, God. Jeez, come on, but like you said, no, you know, like all that kind of Tony Soprano stuff. It was like, mama's gabagoo, and all this.
That was the worst fucking thing that ever happened. Was the
Sopranos.
That and like just the TV influx that they got, like the airtime that they got.
Jersey Shore,
fucking
a direct
Shore,
knock on from the Sopranos.
Absolute animals. Like.
Yeah, it was just awful. Anyway, I came back to Dublin anyway, so I was going around. And at the time then, eventually, when I got down to very little money whatsoever, ended up kind of homeless to a certain degree.
I know that feeling.
You know, as in not having a home.
Yeah.
So at that point then, I remember the lowest point of it was when I stayed overnight in a McDonald's.
Oh yeah.
That one with your bag in McDonald's. Using the Wi-Fi.
I paid to sleep in a car park. But I had a car.
You had a car.
I slept in a car. But I figured this is actually value for money. It's only 12 quid overnight. I've got a car. Let's just park it in here.
Yeah, there's a toilet right there.
There you go.
So, yeah, no, it's like, yeah, so at that point then, I was kind of like, oh, okay, this is tough. So then I got into the hostel where I was, which was an old convent. And it looked like the nuns, like I said, had literally just left.
And you took over their choir. And before you knew it, then you brought the...
My angelic voice.
You brought the ones out of themselves, and you brought the real angry fucking Reverend Mother. I'm just wondering if there's.
You know what? I would love to do a sister. That'd be brilliant, wouldn't it?
How good would that be?
Oh my God!
I'm not sure if you could blackface you just straight out.
Oh no! Look, that's Trio Kings' over party. That's what that is. Like, anyway, like one of those things. Anyway, so when I was in there, like I said, it was just like there was all these old religious statues everywhere. So, like, when you were coming back late at night, because I ended up working in a casino doing security. So, when you come back late at night, you'd be walking through this kind of, like, underground passage. And it was actually in a film.
What?
Have you seen that Irish film? It was like, I'm not sure what it's called, The Cured or something, where they were...
Was it a horror?
It was a horror one, yeah, where there was, like, zombies were real, but then they got a cure for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of that was filmed in this place.
Was it? Great.
Do you know the bit where all the zombies were underground and they were holding all those zombies prisoner?
Yeah.
There is where I lived.
Yeah. So, meanwhile, you're saying a few prayers on the way back in.
Yeah, it's like I was walking back in, and like so it was always dark, right? So they had the fellas who ran it. I think they were going to knock it down to build some stuff there. But what it was that when you walked through this long corridor, the lights would turn on as you go past each segment, so they wouldn't have to have the lights on all the time, just where you needed them.
Please tell me they shut off just as you walk past.
They shut off as I walk past.
Oh my!
So when you're walking up, right, you see like in the shadows, because I'd always come back late on, like around midnight or whatever else, and you'd see up the top of the thing, you'd see like is that a ghost or is that some statue of the Virgin Mary up there?
Great.
And you walk past, oh no, it's a statue of the Virgin Mary, but it could have been a ghost.
Still is creepy. Yeah. Still is creepy.
And that's the thing. And there was rats there, and there was like and the guy who ran it was just like, you'll just have to put some traps down.
Suck it up, sister.
So it's like, okay. And I was staying in one of those little nuns' rooms. So like, do
you know they're called cells?
Cells. That's the thing. Yeah. And I was just like, it felt like it on like a mattress. Like I've probably had like wafers that had been thicker than that thing. And it was just
holy wafer.
Yeah, there was plenty of that around because I was on the altar when I was young too, so I know all about having those wafers.
There you go.
Yeah, you were on the altar.
I was on the altar. I was made a fortune. I could bring on tears at a fucking wedding or a funeral. Two different types of tears, of course.
Oh yeah, there's the thing. But I developed a technique for ringing that bell. You know that bell when like is in.
Could you do it off both hands?
I could do it off both hands.
Both sides.
Come on.
Yeah, but a lot of lads can't. A lot of lads don't put the work in.
They don't put the work in. A lot of lads embarrassing themselves up there. Can't do it with one hand. A lot of lads would ring that bell, right?
Yeah.
And it would start doing that vibration thing.
For the love of...
Where it's just like, rookies.
You make me want to get sick.
Just puke into your hands.
For the love of God. Quite literally, for the love of God. Have you any pride in your fucking work?
So, when I would ring it, I would lift it up onto one of the legs because it was on 3 legs.
Yeah.
No reverberation.
Of course.
Perfect bell ring. Look, what can I say? Could have gone pro.
It was pride in your work.
It's going pro as an altar boy being a priest.
Well, I mean, you surely got a few pound, did you?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. So technically, that means you were playing semi-pro. I mean,
I was a semi-pro, yeah.
I would have been there still, only got nabbed for performance enhancing shit. But
the altar wine.
Wine.
Not supposed
just
to have
got
it
me going.
consecrated.
Just got me so emotional during those days. So
then blood test.
So what? Who were you looking at? You were looking at the likes of Kinsella and all
I was
the
looking
rest
at the likes of Murray Kinsella and looking at, because I was thinking, I was working in rugby. There's no reason why I can't do it now, professionally covering it.
Yeah.
So I thought, again, hopeful boy, didn't work out. So I was like, trying to go along and, send off CVs to different people. Because, again, I had no idea how it worked.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah, what do you do?
So I tried to get into doing video work with some AIL clubs. Mm-hmm. Good luck with that.
Such a pity, because did you listen to the one, by any chance, with Bernard Jackman?
Do you know what? I was going to listen to that one, but I ended up doing something else.
He's a good crack fella.
He's actually sound enough.
We talked about, it's coincidental you talked about that, because we talked about such a pity, because there's such talent in the AIL that if filmed right, because the problem is they're being filmed shit.
It looks like shit.
So it looks like shit.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get, we were talking about like these YouTubers who just have the ability to get 1 million views on a thing. Like if you could get to that point, like I'm sure schools football looks shit as well, or school, if it was filmed badly, like in America, but because it's filmed well, it looks class.
And it's made to look depressing, but it's not. I've been to loads of AIL games, and it's brute. It's like brutal stuff, like not like the quality of it, but like it's in the physicality. These lads like kicking the shit out of each other.
Yeah,
and it's just like, this is entertaining. Like as in, like the
is.
rivalry between like the likes of Young Munsters and Shannon and like Garryowen and like, it's never mind like Cork and Dublin clubs, Cork and Limerick clubs. That's watchable. Do you know what I mean? Like you watch it, like, but it's just the game's kind of going more to.
But that was the thing. I remember like when I played all through school. I played for Clanwilliam.
Oh yeah,
and then went and played 20s in Shannon.
Oh,
and then
a Shannon man.
I played 1 year of 20s in Con.
Yeah,
and I moved.
Oh really?
Switched college. Yeah,
super.
And then. As my talents waned, I went and played for Christians then after that. So, but I enjoy Christians weren't bad at the time. Like we enjoyed it, but there was no the lads playing for Con were borderline. A lot of these fellas had contracts coming their way. So, you know what I mean. Yeah. So you get found out unless. But sure, I was smoking 40 a day as well. Going, I can play this all day long. You're like, no,
I can do it all day long.
Yes,
which
you can
is like
at 20 years of age, Tom. But as soon as 21 kicks in, it's like, oh no, you can't. You can't.
No, I'm old.
Bars like this fucking also. I'm blaming this. Nothing to do with natural talent. I'm blaming bars like this for ruining my rugby career. Like,
yeah, I was just useless.
No, were you?
Yeah, it was useless. Like,
who did you play with?
I played with a couple of clubs in Cork. I played over in Italy. I did with the. Oh, yeah. Because with my mic, I do it like this.
See, the thing is, no, it will pick you up. And if this was any other place, but it'll pick up
the birds' thoughts over there.
Yeah, just, like.
So I played with Mogliano over in Italy in their
like
B team. It would make a class motorbike.
Had you played here?
I played like with underage down around West Cork in the city. And it's just, I was no good. Like, because you know what the frustrating thing for me was, you could see what to do, but you just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't do it to the level that you wanted, and it was just like I was always more interested in the fighting. Like as in when I was in New Zealand, I played 1 or 2 games down there, and the standard was just
that's astronomical. Like. They brought a couple of lads They brought one lad. I remember he was playing for the Hurricanes. His actual name, I swear to God, his first name, he's Maori lad, he was from the islands. His name was Storm. His actual christened first name was Storm. It takes fair balls to name a young fella Storm, doesn't it?
You're setting him up for he's either going to be like fantastic.
He was unbelievable. Like he just had power coming out of his nostrils, and you're kind of going, Jesus Christ, that. But the thing was, I wasn't particularly good. But sometimes when stupidity crosses over a line, it's like, he doesn't. All right. He's stupid enough to actually just run hard at these things. So I served just about enough of a purpose that I codded a lot of people into thinking I was.
It's like, he's got potential, that fella.
Yeah, but stupidity is a fantastic thing. Like you just go, you're just running at a situation.
To show up, coaches love it.
Yeah.
Coaches love it because I had to fit in when
Apparently I was inspirational in how I would throw myself into them. Effective, maybe not, but inspiration is a great thing. Like,
but one of the things was like when when I was in New Zealand, I ended up having to play some B-level game. I think it was in Southland something, whatever it was.
You're so racist right now. You sound like an American that showed up.
Southland,
whatever.
whatever.
Show me some like,
oh my god,
shithole, I don't know, belly, kiss my ass, right?
The fuck is this place, man?
You got fucking what?
So anyway, when I was there, it's like, it's in, okay, look, you'll slot in, right? So I was just, the rest of it was like, where do you play? And I was like, well, back row. All right, so it's like, oh, we're in back row. Do you play, mate? And it's just like,
all of it.
Well, open side really. That's where I play. But like normally, the open side is where you play your best player. But this was not me. I was a guy who would just show up and just take a few slaps and throw a few slaps, which is fine. And I thought this would serve me well down there. So there was a fella who was kind of limbering up. He was a guy who was like he would look like a Maori guy anyway, right? And he was like he grey enough bits in his hair. He looked around, I'd say 40, around that age. So I was just like, I'm gonna just go out there. I'm gonna rock this lad. I was still in decent enough shape at the time. I was like, I'm gonna rock this lad.
Your Caucasian frame was thinking, I'm gonna.
So just like, he's got nothing for me.
This warrior spirit. Yeah, I'm gonna.
Warrior spirit. Well, whatever. So I go out anyway, and I'm just like, guy kicks off. I start running off towards where the ball is going. I was just like, I'm already feeling a bit gassed here.
Oh Jesus! Okay.
So it's like, oh no. So anyway, like the ball comes down, they take it, and the lad is over there protecting the ball at the ruck. So I'm just like, I'm gonna blow this fucking guy out of this here now. So line him up. Run on. I'm just going to look and say, I don't even care if I get blown up for a penalty on this. I'm just going to wipe this guy out first up. And I go to do it, and I literally hop off him.
Yeah.
Like, he was, braced over the ruck like that.
Yeah.
I'm going over trying to wipe him out, get under the shoulder and just drive him off. I was going to follow through and give him a little bit of that or whatever else, because I'm the Irish guy, so I'm thinking I'm going to play up to that. Like. So, because all I'd hear over there was like, how shit Ireland was rugby. Like.
Yeah.
So it's like, whatever. It's like, we're shit at rugby. It's like, I'm going to start a fight here. I'm just going to get stuck into this guy. So when it happens anyway, I just hop off him and I kind of fall back on my arse.
Yeah.
And
like you just hit a
like I hit a brick wall, and I was just like, fuck.
Yeah.
So then I'm thinking, okay, next one. And this dude just sickened me the entire game. The entire game. Just absolutely wiped me out. And the thing is, the lads afterwards were saying, he's like, he's not even that good. Like, fuck off, man. I was just wiped out by this guy.
There's some freaky genetics going. Like I remember, it was Shannon 20s, and there was a lot of lads like there was like Mossy Lawler was just he would go train with us.
You would have gone beyond that stage, or
like lads were good, you know. And I was just about able to make the team, and I was playing the inside centre. I was strong, like, and I was able to run in straight lines. But I remember we were playing this. There was a club, Thomond, and they were shit. Ironically, they were really shit. And we played them in it was like some sort of a shield match that we got knocked out of the AIL semi-final by UCC. Dennis Leamy was playing that day, like, and just ran over. Do you know what I mean? This was, do you know?
Oh my God.
And what was hilarious was I'd known, like, because he was casual or whatever, and I never forget. Leames, do you want to go out into the centre? I was like, oh, please don't.
No,
don't, Leames. No, Leames,
stay there. Look, you're the back row. You stay there. No. Don't you dare be moved.
I hung onto his leg once, and that was about it. But we played these lads or whatever, and they had this lad. He was Maori lad, and he looked like he'd put like engine oil in his hair. Like he didn't weigh more than 9 stone. He was the skinniest Maori you've ever seen. He's just standing there, and I swear in my life, he was wearing like flowery Bermudas, like board shorts. The guy had showed up with not even rugby boots. He was just wearing trainers. You're like, this guy. And I said, all right, I swear he was at full back, and I swear to God, if I break through a tackle, I'm just going to actually run at him. I'm going to run at him because I never get this opportunity again to smash somebody. Right?
Yeah, like he's getting wiped out, this guy.
Oh my God, I'm going to fucking melt him, right? And I got the thing is, I got like it was about two or three efforts in, ball carries in, and I got through a small hole or whatever. And fuck it, I see your man, and I swear in my life, the man, I could put my hand on my heart and say he was definitely picking his nose. Right, that's how little interest he looked like. So I was figuring, I'm just going to run at him, and he probably won't even see me coming. It's going to be hilarious. Have big gas, all right? I don't know what happened in the blink of an eye of the half yard I was away from him, and he wasn't braced. Not like he was quite literally looking up at the sky, as I was running at him, elbow out, all pointy, like a nasty bastard.
Yeah,
and I was I'm going to just gonna fuck him up.
Yeah.
I woke up about 2.5 minutes later smelling salts.
Oh, do you ever have one of those where you're when you're waking up and you're actually still playing?
Yeah,
you become aware and you're just like,
I just missed that last 2 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, where we are.
This guy, according to the lads, because I got to see, because I played on after about 5 minutes, just sitting there going, do I need an ice cream or something just to get back in the game here? But a couple of lads were going, that didn't even look real. Like, it didn't. You went from being at a 45-degree angle pointing towards their posts against a man who was looking vertical up at the sky, who at the very last second decided, fuck, and he planted himself with he didn't even have rugby boots on, he just had trainers on, and just hit me with something, and I can remember the pain ever so slightly. It wasn't like somebody hit you with a sledge, it was like somebody threw like a shopping bag full of spiky hammers. Do you know, every bit of it was sore, there was no overwhelming slap.
It was just why you see all bone.
Yeah, but I got to see it. He like, we had a few lads, we'd Cully Tucker, we had a couple other lads playing on our team who went on to be, play for Ireland and stuff, and he was just melting lads every time he came near him. And Shannon tried to get him straight away. He was like, nah, mate, you'll want me training and shit. Like, this lad had no interest. He was just smoking weed. The second the game ended, he had a joint while in his gear out the side of it, and you're going, I fucking hate you to be born with that level.
To be born with that level of ability.
Yeah.
And a slogger like me could have thrown a slap and that's it.
And
Did you ever play Cork Transport?
No.
Oh God.
Is it?
Oh, Jesus. Those lads, they didn't have much interest in running rugby.
Yeah.
Oh,
try a Clanwilliam versus Kilfeacle. Yeah, Derby.
That sounds like something that might be on a poster in the background of the field. It
is quite literally just bring your pitchforks. Like, it's
the ball will be incidental to what's going on here.
But I don't want to keep you for too long. So we may as well get back into
the rugby,
a bit of the actual rugby, I suppose. Yeah. So our Glasstreet ceiling apparently has been hit.
It has
once again.
Yeah. It's
what the fuck is going on, Tom? Because I mean, you look at it on paper. And our players aren't that far,
no.
And they keep on bigging up fucking Felix and all the rest of it, but why do we continue going, let's all stand back and let the scrum half get in just for the scrum? Why can't we all learn to pass from the fucking base of the scrum?
I think,
or the base of a ruck?
You see, it is irritating sometimes when you see how these games go, because against Saracens we were up against it. It was one of those games where...
we fucking knew we were going to be up against it.
That's it. It's one of those games where...
2 years ago.
Yeah, you look at it and you go, okay, well look, we'll need to play very, very well here, and they'll need to have an off day if we have a chance here. And you never talk about that before you go into the game because you don't want to bury the game before you play it. But when you look at Munster would have had to play it very, very well to sneak that win. And when you look at the way that there was a couple of things I thought were a bit off of the game. Like some of our transition attacks this season, I think, haven't been good enough to going on the guys who we have.
Yeah.
The likes of Earls, Carberry, Conway, these lads.
But there seems to be a breakdown. Like for me, Haley hasn't fired a shot yet. Like.
He hasn't had that standout moment. I think he's been very solid positionally and defensively.
Who's to blame for that?
Which isn't... And you know what? When you say a fullback is good defensively and positionally, a lot of people are just like, fuck off.
Yeah. Because he knows where to stand. Is that what you're telling me?
You look at the fullback and isn't that that kind of stuff's important. So like, he hasn't had that big moment, the likes of Zebo. He's replacing Simon Zebo, really.
Yeah.
Who's not only is a massive character, but he was fucking bloody good as well.
Yeah.
So like, you look at that and you go,
he got tries everywhere.
You know
what I mean?
He's a tough guy to replace. So he was kind of up against it there. I don't think he's been I don't think he's been poor at all. I think he's had good games, but he hasn't had that big moment yet where people kind of go.
But also, Tommy, he has had an awful lot of fucking mistakes. Like, you go back and count them. He's had some big mistakes at big times, like dropping balls in front of fucking lines, missing tackles the other day. Now, I know he was put under pressure, but Andrew Conway had to cop on to stick his hands in the air. He didn't have to cop on.
It's one of those ones
after getting beaten.
Like, it's one of those ones for me. Like, is in that, when you look at Saracens and you look at the lads who they have in their team, they've got a number of lions there. Like,
yeah, I know.
We don't really have that. Like, and we used to, because before you kind of used to be going, well, Munster were winning a lot of these games with, people are going, oh yeah, we're a very smart team, a lot of street smarts and stuff, which we did, but we also had a load of lions as well.
And the Ireland halfbacks.
We had Ronan O'Gara, we had David Wallace, who was just an outstanding player. My God. Paul O'Connell, Donegal O'Callaghan, John Hayes, Marcus Horn, Jerry Flannery.
Yeah, the Ireland pack, basically.
The Ireland pack at the time.
So notwithstanding that and knowing we have the deck we have at the beginning of the season. You go, okay, so we can't play a forwards orientated game anymore.
No. And I think
when
that's
are
the
we going
problem.
to start switching it up?
That's the
because
problem.
we knew that at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like we brought Chris Farr in, who has hands like a fucking angel. The size of it, like I briefly met him about 3 weeks ago, and the shock and awe
Can you
of
imagine
that man's size.
Imagine tackling him.
No, I can't. I can't, Tom.
No, you think it's one of those things
I can
you
only
try to
imagine
it,
shooting him from a distance. And
it's just a blank. It's
and
like,
having a
no, actually, I can't.
full clip ready to go because there's not one is going to take. Like the size of his man,
Yeah.
like his neck looks like a leg sticking out of the top of the man's
Do you
shoulders.
remember the Cardassians in Star Trek Deep Space Nine?
Yes,
he does it
straight down. Yeah. He has these fucking pipes coming off the side of his head,
That he is an animal.
and like, so you got this
Yeah,
gift.
we
put in the centre.
need to play against Saracens. I think, and I like having looked back at the game now a couple of different times. I think we needed to play a bit wider. We needed to, and sometimes it's the game plan might be to do that. You know yourself.
Yeah,
the game plan might be to do this, but then you kind of revert back to, well, look, we're not securing our own ruck ball here. Like when you like Billy Vunipola flopping all over the top of a ruck, you're just like, we got to blast him off, and one fella won't do it, so we've got to have two lads going in on him. So you're narrowing yourself then phase after phase after phase, and that to me looks like what it did. So I think with a year or two more development, I think we will be a little bit better prepared for a game like that. But I think that with this one, I think we needed to play a certain way and start better than what we did, and it just didn't happen. And once you're starting to chase that and chase it and chase it and chase it, momentum is with them. And a lot of people go, momentum doesn't exist in sports.
Oh, it totally does.
It totally does.
Like you see the buzz. Like I had just in a totally different sport. I remember I was talking with Brendan Maher on the podcast, the Tipperary Hurler, and he was saying when he started off at first, it was almost like wrestlers, how they talk about getting that old pop, like and all the rest of it. He says all I wanted to do was just fucking play sharply up the pitch and all the rest of it, and just keep it nice and tidy and just go for it. And he says that is the correct, pragmatic, on paper way of doing it. But it was Brendan Cummins pulled him back one day. No. He says there's times when you need to create a bit of a fight, win that ball, and do the. Do you remember what was his name? He was Brendan again for Cork, the Rock.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Brendan O'Sullivan. And he'd do this big barreling kind of run and make a big hula over nothing, and then all of a sudden lash the ball up into the air.
Do you remember that point he scored against Limerick?
Yeah.
Or was it Tipperary? I'm not
think
sure
it was
who
Tipperary.
it was. Was it Tipperary?
But no, it's Limerick. You're right.
Limerick,
He splits it. But even if it doesn't go for a point, if you drive it, he says those moments where it creates momentum, where the rest of the team feed into the crowd all screaming for it. He says if you just play nice, tidy, pragmatic hurling, nobody gets going.
No.
Because you're a bunch of kind of half-drunk savages, cultures in the audience eating, potato sandwiches, and they want to get hyped up about something.
They want to be excited.
And that feeds into the crowd.
And do you know what? When it came to doing Three Red Kings, pro wrestling had an awful lot to do with how I structured it and how I did it.
Because you played, like, there's almost you do play it like a WWE fucking commentator.
No, but you have
the
to.
memes you put up and stuff like that.
But you
just
have
another
to.
one for the bad guys.
Yeah, but that's pro wrestling. Like,
yeah. It's Razor Ramon.
It actually is. It actually is. But like the reason why I did that is because when I started doing the match commentary and stuff like that during the games and stuff like that, like I have huge weekends where my mentions are just a sewer.
Yeah.
After games with
No
people
doubt.
who just don't understand that. Like it's meant to just like I will do serious analysis, and I do serious analysis on my Patreon page and stuff like that. But like Twitter is entertainment. People aren't on there really to learn deep things about the game.
I don't think people understand that the internet is actually crack.
Yeah.
like the people that gets serious with me going, I think you're a fan, Cham. You mentioned there, you go, you did notice that this is a comedian's podcast. Did you come on here looking to fucking learn something, you idiot? If anything, you're going to lose brain cells listening to me. Like, relax.
I had a thing there the other day with somebody coming on to me about like some point of contention he had over something I'd said, and I was just thinking, like, as in the last post I put up was literally Homer Simpson shouting out the car window of a car, but there's an air horn instead of his fucking voice. And I'm like, do you not understand?
Was that Mario Toji? Was it in relation to Mario Toji?
Oh, no,
he's the loudest bollocks.
Oh,
him and Carl Sinclair.
Maro the meme, yeah. No, but it's like, because my whole point when I was doing this stuff is that rugby's supposed to be fun. And when I was looking at rugby on social media, it just looked like the driest fucking thing going.
That's the thing, why I can't, when I'm watching you at least, while I'm waiting for a gig, it's like, fucking right, you cunts. Yeah, you know,
but that's it. But like so much of it is...
I'm enjoying that, like, you know what I mean? Like,
so much of it is about like for that 80 minutes or whatever else, you can just forget about because when I started off, I was in the pits. I was in a convent.
Yeah.
And I was as in homeless, not like 3 or 4
Choir were
weeks prior.
shit.
The choir were just rubbish. They couldn't just get
you
it
couldn't
together.
get with the fucking local
The mafia
kids.
were still after me. But when I was doing that thing, I was just like, look, it should at least be fun if it's nothing else. Because like the season I started doing Three Kings was the worst season Munster rugby I've ever had in a professional year.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah,
Just the pits. Every single... And I remember people would be saying, oh, you must love it when Munster lose because you can get to write like scathing articles about them and stuff like that. It's like, when Munster lose, it's shit for me.
Yeah.
And like people don't get that, like, because a lot, like, I run a pretty big... it's a pretty big account now.
Yeah, of course.
So, like, a lot of the time, like, I've had to change how I structure my notifications and stuff because you just get just the dumbest fuckers you've ever seen in your life.
Oh, Jesus.
Showing
That was
off
one thing
in
when
my
I was driving
mentions.
over there. I was going, can you imagine the absolute fucking window lickers that you have to deal with
Oh
on a
my
daily
God,
basis
already.
going, I think you'll find.
Like, because I've had a lot of...
As if they're talking to 3 actual Red Kings.
Well, excuse me, sir. No, but it's just like and you know, sometimes I do kind of exploit the fact as well that look, I put up a lot of stupid fucking bullshit on my.
But you know, you got to troll the trolls too a little bit.
Yeah, oh no,
you know
like
what
as
I
in,
mean?
but that's generally what I do. Like as in the intensity stag thing.
Yeah.
It's objectively stupid.
Yeah. But it's fun for the sake of being fun.
It's dumb, but it's like, but people enjoy being excited about rugby and they enjoy being excited about Munster. So when I look at like as in, I didn't want to be doing what everybody else is doing because everybody else is doing it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to try and do something a little bit different. And plus, as well, when you're watching a game, sometimes you're just like, like people can see themselves what happened. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If there was a try happen, so okay, look, so I know what's happened technically. So I'll throw in a bit of technical stuff at times. But when it comes to, like, if you can tell a joke during the game about something that's happened in the game, or amuse people in some way, that then becomes, you can then make money off that then. Because if you're part of people's match day experience, then all of a sudden then you can do it professionally, which I am doing. And I've been doing professionally now for 2 and a bit years.
And you're doing radio now as well. You did Live 95.
I did Live 95. And it was...
which con did you take over for? Because there was con and con, wasn't there? There was 2 cons.
There was 2 cons. I was there with Dan Mooney.
Oh, right.
Who is... we'd been having a kind of an invented Twitter war all week long about jellies.
Great.
Because when you go to the press area, and I've only really started going to the press area the last 2 seasons, and when you go to the press area, you'll see the kind of the illicit trade in jellies that go on in the press area in these games.
What to what are we talking like?
People are going like, as in, you know, you've got fellas who got the wine gums, the dregs of society, we call these people.
I mean, but look, I won't lie. I dip my toe in the dregs of society every so often. I had a little bag of wine gums on the way down.
Did you have wine gums?
Did, of course.
Oh my God, you scumbag!
I actually did the Lent thing. I came off jellies for 40 days to see could I do it.
Did you?
I did, and last night I OD'd. Actually, yeah, I didn't think I'd make it here today. I just hung on for the fucking second episode of Game of Thrones. That was all that got me through it.
Look, the jellies will get me through it. I remember actually, I was there doing a thing in Musgrave Park. I'm not sure what game it was. Southern Kings game. And I was there and I was thinking, you know, Three Kings at this point now, I'm thinking pretty popular, okay?
Yeah.
I've had people come up to me before. I've seen people wearing my T-shirts. I've actually tried to do the whole street mall thing.
Oh, yeah,
as a joke. They weren't into it. But when I was at the this game,
the whole women going, what's he doing?
My son gave me this T-shirt for Christmas, Munster's own Joey Carberry. So when I went, anyway, I was at this game. I was sitting at the back of the stand at the time because I was doing radio with Dan Mooney.
Right.
I was sitting in doing a thing with Dan Mooney, and so it was halftime, and Donal Lenihan and Michael Corcoran were in front of me.
Right.
So I was just like, Donal Lennon's a huge man.
Massive. He's massive.
He's like, what a big man this is.
I walked straight into his penis one time.
Did he?
Yeah. I was sitting on a stool. He was standing up, and it was in a bar out in Douglas, and I didn't see him, and I quite literally was mid stand up.
I'm very interested in this.
And landed dick to forehead was a good second and a half. Fairness, he played it. Dickhead immediately. He played it very cool, to be fair to me. He played it very cool.
He was just like, it's okay, it happens.
It happens. It happens.
In dressing rooms, you just never know what goes on in here.
He was actually cooler with it than I was expecting to be. He was like, so, what you doing?
Here we are.
Can we, you know, what are you drinking?
Do you have a Donal Lenihan impression?
No,
No?
I should listen to him more, but he definitely has a distinct.
I used to do a bit before with my brother where we would be Michael Corcoran and Donal Lenihan, but we'd be commentating on professional wrestling.
Oh yeah. Well, Michael Corcoran is out of his mind.
I love Michael Corcoran.
He's brilliant.
Oh my god.
He's
oh my god.
He should we should get what we should do is corner him and just get him to do a load of wrestling. Actual wrestling. Oh my God, it's John Cena after 40,000 phases.
Can you believe he's after beating The Undertaker after 40,000 pin attempts? Oh my God. No, but so anyway, I was in Musgrave Park and it was halftime and they had gone to ads. We had a lot of technical problems getting the mic stuff set up at the time.
Right.
So I was sitting at the back and Don Lennon was in front of me and they was chatting away to Corcoran, and you have at games in the press area, people don't realise this, is that there's a very small amount of pre-packed sandwiches that are in the press area. So like the big dogs go down and get the sandwiches in advance.
Right.
But when you're like to Donal Lennon and Michael Corcoran, their sandwiches, you go down there and like he's in, you don't take those lads' sandwiches if you know those lads are up there with their sandwiches.
Okay, yeah.
So they got up there, they had some beef sandwiches. He was eating them away down the thing. I decided that, look, I'm not going to have sandwiches, whatever. So anyway, I get a tap on my shoulder.
Right.
I'm just like, it's a fan.
Right. Yeah, of course.
He wants to come in and talk to me about the intensity stagger, some other nonsense. So it's like, brilliant. So, and I was just like, I can't wait to tell herself about this. She'll be like, oh my God, that's so impressive.
Look at her now swirling beside us.
This is like, oh my God. So anyway, the tap on my shoulder, I turn around, and it turns out the guy was just leaning on me to get closer to Don Lenihan so you could ask him to sign his program.
That's the equivalent of me being handed somebody's phone and going, could you get a picture of me? And they're like, yeah, no
So I was looking at it, I was like, oh my, like as in, I was like, oh my God.
I don't think it's been done to me on purpose. I think it's genuinely people want me to take photographs of a friend of mine that I'm standing with.
So basically, it was just like, I was just like, oh my God, I've just been completely and utterly degraded here. I'm basically a stool for somebody to go get an autograph from Don Lennon.
And that's you getting back into your fucking box.
But you know what? The best thing at games, like, is in, because like I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a journalist.
Yeah.
We've had this
it's
discussion
a lovely
where
place
like,
to be,
like. I'm not a journalist at all, but somehow I find myself in the press area of these games because I've been accredited by the Pro 14 somehow. Yeah! And like,
fuck that guy.
But myself and Raf, we do a podcast for Sporting Limerick, and the Limerick Post or whatever. No, Sporting Limerick, and like we are both fans,
right?
And Raf was up at the game. Remember the Munster versus Toulon game last season in the quarter final. We were Raf was up at that game, and you know the Andrew Conway try that scored that.
I think the entire province pissed their pants.
Yeah, it was just going absolutely ballistic. And like Raf at the time was covering the game in the press area, and he was up like, yeah, and he looked around, and all the other journalists were kind of going, looking at him.
You mean you actually have a soul? What's wrong with you?
But my whole thing was this: like, look, every journalist that you see is a fan.
Of course,
they are a fan, and like he's saying, you can tell in their writing who they're a fan of.
Oh yeah,
for sure. And it's just like, why are you hiding this bull? Like, it's just bullshit. Like, because you obviously support Leinster or you obviously support Munster. Just why not come out with it and just say that's who you support and that's who you like. That's here. So I thought, look, I'm doing 3 weekend because I thought initially I was going to call it Power and Glory,
right? Yeah,
and be like, as in an Irish, cover all Irish rugby because I thought that'd be easier. But I was just like, yeah, fuck it. And just do a just about Munster.
Would be tough enough to just stand there and fucking, up there and Connacht. Well, even Connacht, you kind of
look, I kind of, I'd be alright with Connacht.
Jesus Christ, you're watching on a Leinster going, class,
yeah, well done, lads, well done. Do you know how many times I've seen that thing about 4 stars?
Yeah.
And do you know how little I care about it?
But it's like, what? It's a bit scummy, isn't it? Do you feel that?
No,
I wouldn't. I would hate if Munster won another one and they went, that's time to stick 3 stars on. It's like, can you not just leave it to the history books? Do you really? Yeah. It's kind of like putting a chandelier in your caravan. You know that kind of way. It's like, relax.
It's like, do you need to have that on the shirts? Like, yeah, look, okay, fair enough.
Maybe it's working. Maybe we fucking need to stick a couple on.
Here, put those stars on there, Jesus. No, but it's just. When I look at it, it's just such an entertaining game to me, and it's so games themselves are so exciting and they're so such emotional things at times. Because, like I said, I've never been more emotional in my life than when I've been watching rugby and watching Munster in particular.
Yeah,
like just absolutely just like the 2006.
Stop.
Grown men, bawling, crying all over the place. I was one of them as well.
Yeah.
And it's like that to me is what is fun about sport. And I think if you're covering sport and you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. If it's overtly serious, and I know sometimes there is some
you mean
time
like
to be serious.
What's his name? What's his fucking name? He'd be the equivalent of Donal Lenihan in Leinster. What's his fucking name? He writes for The Independent. He'd give you iron.
The Independent. Neil Francis.
Oh God, he'd give you. He'd put iron on a jar of Vaseline. That man. He's just. Oh
no! The thing is,
I don't mind somebody going out of their way to be the enemy. You know,
okay, do it because
all right, Jesus.
That's actually made money for me.
Yeah,
sometimes being the guy who people don't like.
Yeah,
it's just because again, the whole pro wrestling thing was hugely important in getting all of it set up.
Yeah,
like, you have to you can't be yourself on social media or you'll get hurt.
Oh yeah,
You'll get your feelings hurt, or else you'll start getting depressed or whatever else. You have to be somebody else.
Hence
on Twitter.
why I'm ridiculous at everything I put. It's so much easier. People now are starting to. All right. He actually is not real in anything he's putting out, and it's taken only about 9 years actually to do it. Like to.
Stop! Like I tell you, like as in, I have weird people who follow my Twitter account.
I can only imagine.
Very strange people.
Yeah.
Like there's a very strange person today who I showed you. I won't go into it.
I know I'm quite a strange bloke who has talked about talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, you do realise he's just okay, right, okay. Right.
But it is very strange, and that's the thing with social media. I suppose when you're kind of doing your business on social media. It's such a strange thing, isn't it?
He's doing his business again.
You're doing what? Wait, I didn't even realize it.
We were having a little side joke there.
I was like,
when you're doing your business,
I was over here looking at the table.
How have you not been blocked?
Doing your business.
How have you not been? Actually, yeah. You've seen a few blocked ones, so yeah.
I have. No, I know how to do it. But that's the thing. Like it is such a strange business on social media because it's just people think they know you and they think they know who you are based on. You know, there was one guy, like as in, I remember being linked into somebody's timeline or whatever else, where they were just going on and on about Three Ray Kings, and I was just like, my God, like as in, how are you this obsessed? Like, it's just,
I can only
it's the strangest thing.
And you're linked with sport, I can only imagine.
Sport
and a specific
toxic,
team, I can only imagine.
It's toxic because I never, because when I was starting up, I was looking at stuff like Arseblog.
Oh yeah,
because I was like searching it initially. I was just like, wait, this isn't what I expected it to be. But
it's not what I was hoping for. I'll put my trousers back on. Okay, right.
But it was like, so this is good, and it's like, so I would like to do something like this, but when you start setting up yourself up and that you're immediately partial from the start, where look, I am biased. And I've so many people who think we've rumbled him here. He's a Munster supporter and he's biased towards them. As if it's not literally in my bio. As if it's literally not all I talk about.
And like there's a mate of mine, he's one of my best friends. We used to have a podcast together, but he's one of the head writers for Waterford Whispers. So can you imagine what he deals with on a daily basis?
It's not Jerry McBride, is it?
Yeah.
He's
McBride and myself. And we called the show the Tom and Jerry Show. It was going great, but neither one of us had time to meet up anymore. But he was back on recently enough to, and he was just talking about like how people have rumbled now that he's the one that makes, when you read those articles where you go, oh Jesus, that's McBride, because no fucks are given. He goes the hardest you can imagine. He doesn't care.
But I like when I look at because after a big week, right, or a big game, my impressions on Twitter could be like 1 or 2 million if it's a big one. Impressions like, and it's like it can be emotionally draining.
Oh, I can only imagine.
To cover a big game where you feel afterwards you're coming away from it, and I'm like exhausted, and you're just like, feel like I'm after fucking playing or being out there or something. Because it's like, why do I feel beat up after a game where I'm literally just sitting and watching it on my phone while I'm tweeting on my computer, and then trying to like analyze the game afterwards and stuff like that. And it's just it is weird where people can't separate the entertainment value that it's supposed to be, where you're not supposed to take absolutely everything I say on Twitter completely seriously. Like the whole because it's like it's supposed to be.
a continuation of the enjoyment, because that's what it is for me. Is that it is the perfect replacement for my madness when I'm watching it and screaming profanities at a thing.
Because when I look at it and I look at my coverage of, say, the Saracens game last week, I look at it as a whole from, we'll say, Sunday to Saturday, where I spent the majority of it really rinsing Billy Vunipola and like talking about the stuff that's around it. But it's amazing. You kind of break it down into a week, and it's just like, what did I talk about last week? And it's just like Billy Vunipola's homophobia, how good Saracens are, their phase structure threat, and then going on about like as in like, oh, there's a stag after arriving outside your door at midnight, and now he's demanding you bang your hands on the table to have good intensity for the rest of the week, and Simpsons memes, and stand up and fight stuff as well, which is just
how
it's
is nobody
strange.
photoshopped somebody kissing another bloke kissing Billy Vunipola? Like, how awesome would that be?
It came into my head to try and do it
because I have no Photoshop ability, but if I had, I definitely would have had. Like, probably, Israel Folau and Billy kiss.
Oh my God.
How awesome would that be?
Stop adding up these free content ideas here. Oh my God.
But yes, speaking of which, and we'll wrap up on the Patreon. On your Patreon is where people can actually find you on the reg.
Yes, which I have, where I do the majority of my serious work.
Yeah.
Examining how Munster have won or lost or whatever else. That's patreon.com/3 Red Kings for just €2 a month. I do a lot of stuff on there. And it is...
and there could be some homophobe smooching.
There could be some.
Some stage.
Look, will there be some tastefully done photographs of arses and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, constantly. That's what we do here. But it's just, so it's good. It allows me to do what I do, and I'm very grateful to all the people who subscribe to me and stuff like that, and they've done so for the last 2 years. It's been really, really cool, and it's just. It's a weird business. I kind of can't believe that I'm still doing it, really, because it's just like living a dream, really.
Yeah.
It's just like, just very grateful for everybody who helps me do it. And it's just, so like, long may it continue for me to continue bluffing away doing this.
Brilliant.
Whatever living I'm doing.
I'll put the link in the show notes as well. So these people can click through and all the rest of it. So for now, Tom Savage, 3 Red Kings, thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much.
And my thanks again there to Tom. That was fantastic. Like I said, I'll put his Patreon page in the show notes of this, so click on through. If you're into rugby in any which way, you're going to enjoy this one. Like I said, very insightful. He knows his stuff. If you want to follow me on this, hit subscribe, because this is out twice weekly, if it's your first time, of course. And do leave a rating. If whatever podcast app you're listening to, leave a rating, because it helps other people find it when more ratings are put towards it. So give it a 5-star. Don't bother giving it anything less, because I learn nothing from it. It's nothing more, and there's nothing I'm changing. So leave it a 5-star. If you don't want to give it a 5-star, don't give it anything. If you do want to give it a 5-star and you have 2 seconds, write a little fucking review as well. It'd be great. Whatever silly stuff you want to get up to. If you want to follow me on any usual platforms, just look for Tom O'Mahony Comedy. Tom Bear O'Mahony on Chatty Snaps. I don't know why it's like that, but it is. Like that. I don't really use it all that much, but if you want to shoot me over something, I will reply. I will reply if I'm not driving or whatever else, but do shoot me on over whatever you want. Just take pictures of where you're listening to it. Take a screen grab maybe if you don't want to take a picture of you. Right, go on away. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, and I'll talk to you on Tuesday.